All right, let's just jump right in. Imagine this for a second.
Yes.
You spend the majority of your week doing, well, everything except selling.
Right.
You're driving to clinics that won't see you because your access list is months out of date. You're updating systems you don't even trust, and you're probably duplicating the same information 3 different times.
Oh, absolutely.
Then you wait, what, a month? A whole month to send one approved email, only to find out the market has already moved on.
That constant friction, that feeling where all your motion doesn't equal any progress, that's the day-to-day reality for thousands of field reps. And you hit the nail on the head, that's not a rep problem.
It's a systems problem.
Yeah,
The system itself is fundamentally broken.
it is.
Welcome back to The Deep Dive. Today, we are taking a stack of sources and really just validating what everyone in commercial pharma already knows, but very few organizations seem willing to admit structurally. We're unpacking the biggest reality gap in the industry, why the system is so perfectly optimized for internal reporting, for measuring activity, and not for the people who actually, generate the revenue.
Our mission in this deep dive is to prove that gap using hard data. We've pulled together information that shows reps aren't just asking for small software fixes. They're asking for 3 fundamental things, 3 non-negotiables.
Okay, what other?
They want their time back, they want precision targeting, and they want speed. Faster content delivery. So we're going to walk through the evidence that proves this current process is just a thief of opportunity and then show you exactly what it takes to fix those systemic flaws.
It's astonishing.
Yeah.
Let's unpack this then, starting with that first non-negotiable time back. Because the data on wasted effort is, well, it's truly shocking. We're calling this theft of opportunity.
It is.
I want to drop the core data point right away. Field reps average only 38% of their time on actual selling.
38%. Just let that sink in. If you think of a typical sales role, even in a highly regulated industry, that number is it's incredibly low.
It is.
If you were a professional athlete and you spent only 38% of your time on the actual sport and the other 62% on filing paperwork and travel logistics,
You would never compete. Not a chance.
you'd be on the bench.
Exactly. So if selling is the job, why is it the minority of the week? It's because that 62% of their time is dedicated to this constant, soul-crushing, non-revenue work.
CRM updates, reporting, training modules.
All the administrative stuff.
Yeah.
It's this silent, steady drain that just kills effectiveness. And here's the real organizational failure. Companies measure what's easy, like activity logs and call counts.
Right.
Not what actually matters, which is the quality of the interaction and the engagement you've generated.
We absolutely need to put some texture on what that 62% looks like on, say, a Tuesday afternoon, because it's not just clicking a few buttons. Our sources show that 32% of reps spend over an hour daily just entering CRM data, but the real kicker is the cleanup.
Oh, the cleanup.
Many reps report spending between 8 and 12 hours a week. That's a full extra workday. Just cleaning or fixing data errors that the system or their own fatigue introduced.
8 to 12 hours of error correction. That's where the burnout lives. I mean, that level of invisible work creates what the field universally calls the second shift.
And this is the reality you have to internalize, you as the listener, if you want to understand the rep experience. The calls finish at, say, 5:03 or 6:00 DM. The rep pulls into a fast food parking lot or goes home, and then their real paperwork job starts.
Yes.
They spend from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. logging their calls, fixing address details, attaching receipts for meals, manually categorizing the nature of spend for compliance. All of this while they're mentally exhausted, only to wake up the next day and see data quality flags telling them they need to make corrections. It's just a vicious, exhausting cycle.
And what's so fascinating is how this pain just radiates across the entire commercial organization. You can see it through 3 distinct lenses, but it's all connected by the same flawed process.
Okay, lay them out.
Well, first, the Rex lens. They're doing duplicate work across tools that just don't integrate. The expense system doesn't talk to the compliance system, which barely talks to the CRM.
Then you've got the manager's lens. They want to coach their team on quality interactions, but the system only feeds them noise. So they're forced to manage by these proxy metrics.
The call's logged.
Exactly, because the system can't actually surface the reality of what happened in that meeting. They're flying blind, managing activity instead of insight.
And finally, there's the compliance lens, which is often driving all this complexity.
Yeah.
Manual entry, especially when you're tired during that second shift, it dramatically increases the risk of error.
And those errors lead to downstream audit panic.
which then forces the organization to institute even more tedious manual checks. The fear of error drives slow, clunky processes, which in turn create more errors.
It's an operational doom loop. It really is.
So how do we stop this theft of opportunity? The fixes aren't about motivating reps to work harder. They're about fundamentally changing the system's design. We need to move admin completion from being a rep's responsibility to being a system guarantee.
And concrete examples here are so critical. We should be auto-capturing metadata time, location, who was there, and then drafting the notes with AI or some kind of smart transcription.
So the rep just has to edit it once.
Just edit once. That's 10 minutes save per call instantly.
And crucially, we have to kill duplicate reporting by establishing one single canonical activity record.
The single source of truth.
Exactly. That one record should feed the CRM, the expense log, and the compliance audit trail all at once. You touch the data one time, you're done. The system confirms the admin is complete, not the person.
And that's how you guarantee time back. Which brings us perfectly to the second non-negotiable, access. Because even if we give the rep back those precious hours, they still run into this collapsing wall of physician access.
This is where it gets really interesting, because the time spent driving to a clinic that refuses to see you is, it's the ultimate wasted effort. The data on access is severe.
It's pretty grim.
Physician access fell from approximately 80% accessible back in 2008 all the way down to a staggering 44% by 2017. And the situation didn't get better post-pandemic.
And that's not even the whole picture. By 2019, nearly 40% of physicians reported having zero interactions with pharma reps in the prior 6 months. Primary care, no rep behavior, essentially doubled in just 1 year.
So you have huge parts of the field just completely wasting time trying to see people who have already closed the door for good.
That's the frustration, isn't it? The access collapse turns reps into what they jokingly call glorified delivery drivers.
A lot of motion, tons of driving, tons of waiting, but very little impact. The real complaint isn't a lack of effort, it's that the rep is fundamentally misallocated.
Their target lists are the problem. They're often way too large, they're static, and they're based on outdated metrics. They're missing critical signals.
What kind of signals?
Well, true accessibility signals like who will actually meet with you. True potential signals, who has the right patient pool or influence. And crucially, true timing signals. When is that HCP actually receptive to talking? Without that precision, you're just knocking on 1,000 doors and hoping one opens.
This leads to this essential shift, this kind of contrarian take we're seeing emerge. Targeting has to stop being based on the lagging indicator of who writes the most scripts.
Ah, the deciles.
Exactly. Historically, organizations would just segment based on prescription deciles, dividing doctors into groups of 10 based purely on volume.
And that's just not good enough anymore. It has to shift radically to a predictive model that's focused on influence and intent. The question needs to be, who is most likely to move clinical behavior in the next 90 days?
And that requires a blended approach, right?
A blend of engagement receptivity, channel fit, scientific interest, a definitive move from volume to precision.
To give us a concrete example of that shift, what does precision actually look like in practice?
Okay, so instead of targeting the top 50 prescription writers in a zip code, you target the 5 doctors who recently searched your clinical trial data online, or the ones who attended a competitive webinar and showed real scientific interest.
So you're targeting based on behavior.
Behavior, access likelihood, and channel preference. If an HCP is unreachable in person, the strategy has to immediately shift to compliant digital routes, email, webinars, portals, because we know a huge portion of physicians actually prefer getting scientific information digitally. You prioritize quality over quantity.
Okay, so we've given the rep time back by automating admin. We've given them better targeting so they're focused on reachable, receptive accounts. But we still have one more major hurdle that freezes the commercial organization in place.
The approval's non-negotiable.
The speed problem.
This is the MLR freeze. And just to quickly define MLR for our listener, it's medical, legal, and regulatory review. It's the process designed to make sure every claim, every piece of content is accurate and compliant.
And the data tells a very clear story of friction here. These MLR cycles can take up to 40 days for a single piece of content.
40 days. And sometimes they stretch to 2 months or even longer, depending on the organization.
40 days to get a slide deck approved. The impact of that on the field is just massive. By the time a critical piece of content finally gets approved and delivered, the market reality has completely changed.
The competition has a new campaign, new data has dropped, the regulatory environment has shifted, the message is stale before it even hits the street.
And this brings us to a really crucial insight, what you called the compliance paradox.
Right. Slow controls do not eliminate risk, they just relocate it. Because the official approved channel is so painfully slow, reps are forced to create workarounds just to keep pace with the market.
So what do you mean by relocating the risk? What does that look like?
They use informal, unmonitored channels. They'll edit old approved slides, changing a key number or a claim. They circulate unapproved content on WhatsApp, personal text messages, private email chains. The very systems designed to enforce compliance end up pushing all the risk into these unmonitored back channels where the legal team has zero visibility.
So your fastest channel becomes the unofficial one.
And that's where the risk lives.
So the solution isn't adding more checks.
No, it's optimizing the speed of the checks. We need practical solutions that reduce this latency. Implementing pre-approved modular libraries is absolutely key here.
So like approved building blocks.
Exactly. Approved blocks of claims, data points, graphics that reps can assemble quickly and compliantly for immediate use, rather than submitting a whole 50-slide deck every single time.
And leveraging risk-based review. This feels like a critical process shift.
It is. Low-risk content like minor updates or simple disease awareness info should go through a fast lane. Only high-risk claims or brand-new data should escalate to that full, rigorous 40-day review.
And AI can help here?
AI-assisted review can be a powerful accelerator for flagging issues, but it has to be transparent and fully auditable. It's about making the process smarter, not just faster.
When you look at all three of these non-negotiables, the admin burden, the access collapse, the approval friction, it's so tempting to try and fix each system individually. Blame the CRM or blame MLR.
Or blame the targeting department. But our sources all point to this unifying idea that synthesizes the entire problem. The core pain is not the individual tools.
Right.
The CRM works fine on its own, the MLR system is effective, but they don't talk to each other. The core pain is the workflow seams.
The repeated handoffs.
Exactly. The repetitive, manual, often asynchronous handoffs between the rep and the CRM, then to compliance, then to content, and often back to finance. Every single seam, every handover creates delay, duplicate work, and rework. It is truly death by 1,000 paper cuts across the whole organization.
So if we could etch one unifying one-liner onto every whiteboard in commercial ops, it should be this. Reps don't need more dashboards, they need fewer handoffs.
And the winning model, therefore, has to be engagement first.
Yeah.
The organization has to design the workflow with the rep's natural conversation in mind, with compliance and reporting just running quietly and autonomously in the background.
So the goal is to let the rep stay in the conversation, stay focused on that scientific exchange.
And the strategic follow-up, not get distracted by the paperwork. The system should be guaranteeing compliance.
The solution shape is so clear when you frame it that way. You have to automate the boring parts, the documentation, the audit trail, the evidence collection. You have to upgrade targeting with real-world signals like access and intent, not just those old deciles. And you have to reduce approval latency with pre-approved components and smart risk-based routing.
The best compliance is the one you barely notice, because it's embedded into the workflow, not bolted on as some separate policing action after the fact. Fixing that 62% non-selling time by automating the seams is the single biggest commercial opportunity in the field today.
If you can get the field rep from spending 2/3 of their time on admin and driving to zero access accounts, and instead empower them with timely content and a target list they can trust, the results will speak for themselves. This isn't just about efficiency.
No, it's about commercial effectiveness. It's about reducing unnecessary spend and drastically reducing rep burnout. This deep dive really shows us that the field rep reality gap is caused by systems that were optimized for internal recording.
Right.
By focusing on what the field is actually demanding, time, precision, and speed organizations can shift their entire commercial machine from being internally focused to being truly engagement focused.
So as you go back to your day, whether you're a rep struggling with the second shift, an MSL working on content, or a commercial ops leader building strategy, we want to leave you with one final provocative thought. It focuses right on that 62% administrative burden, on that theft of opportunity.
Think about the field that causes the most duplication, the most confusion, or the most second shift frustration for you.
If you could delete one field from the CRM forever, what is it and why? We invite you to consider that question as the starting point for fixing your organization's workflow seams.
Thank you for diving deep with us. We'll see you next time.